snow is falling down, children laughing all around. Lights turn on, like a fairy tale come true. Sitting by the fire we made, you're the answer when I pray. I will find someone, baby, I found you. And all I want is to hold you forever. And all I need is you more every day. You saved my heart from being broken apart. You gave your love away, and I'm thankful every day for the gift. Watching us you softly slip, what I give if I could keep just this moment, if only time stood still. But the colors fade away, and the years will make us gray. But baby, in my eyes, we'll still be beautiful. And all I want is to hold you forever. All I need is you more every day. You saved my heart from being broken apart. You gave your love away, and I'm thankful every day for the gift. All I want is to hold you forever. All I need is you more every day. You saved my heart from being broken apart. You gave